Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine Wednesday, July 16th, which is insane. Brandon and I were just talking about the date and the time of year, and this year has absolutely flown past. So thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. I see.
Courtney, while we're waiting, I'll just tell everybody I'm going through as you guys are joining and unmute or allowing you guys to come off of mute. So as we go through this, if you have any questions, feel free. You can drop them in the chat as always, but you also have the ability to come off of mute and talk with us if you would like to. So all you have to do is hit that microphone button in I believe it's your lower left hand of your screen, of your dashboard, should say audio. Can click on that, come off of mute, just ask us a question, tell us we're doing a great job or whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter. We just love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Well, I will go ahead and get started. This is our agenda for our July Wisdom Wednesday, and I enunciated that because I'm just as shocked as everybody else should be. So we're going to go over AHIP and carrier certifications. We are going to go over the importance of carrier first looks in rollout meetings. We're going to go over some AEP readiness tips. And then we are going to touch on what we are hearing in the market, and subsequently what you should be prepared for and excited about. So we'll jump right in to AHIP. We took AHIP the very first day it was out, and I will give AHIP credit. They didn't have nearly as many technical issues as they have had in years past. So kudos to them for what seemed to be a fairly calm launch for 2026 AHIP. A couple little notes to make on AHIP. If you have not done it already and you have done it in years past, you can skip to the quiz on modules 1, 2, and 3. That is probably the best part of AHIP for me because modules 4 and 5, those guys are long. They are timed slides, and if you are a quick reader, that time seems to go by like a snail through salt. So please be prepared for that. Bring your patience, possibly some snacks, but those modules are full of information, but they're really long with those timed slides. Other things to note, you can print your quizzes. You can also save them to a PDF. I suggest that you do that. Not only are they a great study guide, but those quiz questions tend to be your test questions as well. So a great study resource. And then, kind of like the Cliff Note version of your cheat sheet. So quizzes are going to be very careful or very important. Next point is to read very carefully. As in many years past, they are going to try to confuse you with the wording of the question. If you see multiple answers you feel can be right, stop and reread the question. There is only one right answer for each question. I didn't see any that were close to being right along with the actual correct answer. So make sure you're reading carefully. They are going to pay a lot of attention to election periods, which is going to be beneficial for you going in to AEP and throughout AEP. And they're also going to pay a lot of attention to social media compliance and agent compensation. So they really did try to tailor this AHIP in as far as new information to what is actually going to matter to you. How are you going to enroll people? What do you need to watch for on a compliance end? And then how much are you going to get paid and how, which is all very important. Most of our major carriers have released their certifications. United Healthcare has been out for a while. They even had a fast track certification available. They are a carrier that does not even require AHIP. So if you're only selling United Healthcare, you don't even have to take your AHIP test. You can do the compliance version through United Healthcare. Humana's out, Aetna, Anthem, Devoted, Molina, Zing, Florida Blue, all those guys are out, and the rest of the carriers should be launching their 2026 certifications at the absolute latest by the end of the month. So please keep your eye out on that. Some carriers will require a code for you to get into their carrier specific certification. Just reach out to us at NCC. If you don't have that code, we have it available. They are supplying them in your carrier certification emails. I can't say that I always get every carrier email. So again, if you missed one for a carrier that requires a code, please reach out. Any member of our staff at NCC can help make sure that you have what you need. So great question, Miss Lisa. You don't have to pay for the carrier specific certifications. They allow you to take those at no additional cost other than the cost of AHIP. Now, this next little point here, needed carrier certificate or needed CE credits. If you change your AHIP into AHIP with CE credits, that does change the price. So please keep that in mind. But if you're like me, and this year is a license renewal year, you want to rack up as many CE credits as you can. So that is an option. Some states, once you turn AHIP into a CE credit, will require you to have a proctor, which is somebody watching you take your exam. So please keep that in mind. It does tell you if that is a requirement. So just pay close attention to that. Does anybody have any questions about AHIP, CE credits, or carrier certs?
Courtney, I want to show them. We've talked a lot about it, but let's talk about where to find some of this information that we just talked about. So AHIP, if you haven't taken it already, where do we find it? Where can you find it? Carrier search, where can you find those? We here at National Contracting Center put together a Certification Central page, and it's located, if you go to our website, nccagent.com, right in the middle of the page there, you'll see AHIP and Carrier Certification Central. If you click that, it will take you to the page where all of this is housed. And if we scroll down a little bit, if you click here, this link, if you haven't taken AHIP yet, you can click this. This link will open up to NCC's AHIP page where the discount is already there. We have our frequently asked questions. Our first looks, we'll get to those in just a second, but those are going to be here. But then down here, if there is a little clock beside the carrier, if you click on that, it takes you to their certification information. So we have it all in one place for you. You can find it right there. You can click on the link here, go out there, get it done. So it's all in one spot. And the last thing I'll add on this is if you want to have a way to track this, so if you have multiple carriers, you're taking AHIP, you start some, you haven't finished them, what do we do? You can download this handy dandy certification tracker. It is a basic, just a PDF here, but you can print it out. You can write on it. If you have editable PDFs, you can click there and you can actually type in your carrier's name, when you started it, when you completed it, when your RTS shows up, and then any documentation that you need. If you want to put your username, password there, keep it protected, that is up to you. But that's out there for you if you guys need that. We wanted to provide some tools for you. So, because this is a time you can get kind of confused. I know I do when I'm trying to go through, make sure all of my carriers are in line. Have I done it? Have I not? I don't know. I don't remember what I ate yesterday for lunch. So there's going to be some times where you just need a tool for you. So that's out there for you. And if you need it, if you can't find it, just as Courtney mentioned earlier, just reach out to somebody here at National Contracting Center. We can get you that page, or we can get you the links to whatever you need. But that's where you find everything for AHIP and certifications.
And if you take a look where Brandon's screen is at, you'll also see the widget for first looks. That's going to be equally as important. It's organized very similar, and something that you're going to want to pay attention to. We got an early look from Devoted, and Cigna released what they also called a plan preview. Devoted is chocked full of information. Cigna is more of their rebrand to Health Spring. So if you've been doing this for a while, you're going to recognize that name. So we are going back to Health Spring instead of Cigna. And I really think that overall, from what I've seen from these two carriers, it's going to be a very health oriented year. And we'll get into that here in a little bit, but I tend to get ahead of myself. I'm a little squirrely. So we'll jump back over to our presentation and talk about NCC's rollout tours. So as you can see, we're fancy. We have stamps for each rollout tour that we're doing, and they start on September 4th. And we will do 5 rollout tours between September 4th and September 24th. So it's going to be a busy month for the staff at National Contracting Center, but we're going to get in front of as many of you as we can. We will put as much on social media, as much on YouTube, as much out there in content from all of these meetings as possible. They're chocked full of information. They have all the major carrier representatives, regional carrier representatives, ancillary carrier representatives, some ACA carriers, ACA lookalikes. So we're really taking an opportunity this year to pack these events full of what I call vendor booths for our carrier partners so that they can talk to you guys as much as possible. And then they'll have, small presentation windows. But FMO rollout tours are designed for you to get a really good idea of what carriers you want to pay attention to in your specific area, and then attend their carrier specific rollout meetings. So please keep that in mind when you join us at any of our rollout events. It is pretty much a full day of a lot of little chunks of information, just designed to help you organize your AEP and the trainings that you want to attend in depth with each carrier prior to AEP. So Jackson, Mississippi, we'll see you on the 4th, Nashville on September 9th, Duluth, Georgia, at one of the absolute prettiest golf courses I've ever been to on September 11th, Johnson City, September 16th, and then we return home to Knoxville, Tennessee on the 24th of September. That one is going to be absolutely huge. So even if you're out of town, you want to come visit us in wonderful Knoxville, please feel free to do that. You can register. It doesn't matter where you live at. If you're willing to make the trip, we're willing to have you and welcome you to our rollout events and get you in front of some carriers and some great information.
And that brings us to our event calendar. So if you want to register for these to let us know you're coming, you can go to nccagent.com. The event calendar link is right on the front page. It comes to a page like this, and you'll see there all the dates with the events that you can click to register for. We'd love to see you at any of these. I know too, Courtney, we like to kind of get a preview of how many folks are coming, one, so we can let our carrier partners know about any swag items they're bringing or anything like that. So if you can just show up, that's fine. But if you want to let us know, we really would appreciate that by you just clicking on one of these. It just takes you to a form. So if we clicked on Jackson, it'll take you to a form that you just enter some information and just lets us know that you're coming. And then we'll look for you on that day.
Yeah, we do try to feed everybody in the South. I have learned that's a thing. We got to feed as many humans as possible. So those RSVPs are important to make sure that we have plenty of food for everybody. All right. So here is kind of our pre-done checklist, very basic for AEP prep. Again, I guess I should have probably switched FMO events and carrier events. Your FMO events, like I had mentioned, quick bites from lots of carriers, and you get to have one-on-one conversations with those carrier reps, which I think is probably one of the most important items of an FMO event. Those are designed to drive you to carrier events based on what you learned and the carriers that now you know you need to focus on. So the carrier events are much more long, detailed product presentations. I mean, they will get into the nitty-gritty of everything. So I do suggest that at least your top 2 to 3 Medicare Advantage carriers, you attend their carrier specific rollout event, whether it's in person or online. Block that time out on the days that they have those rollout events. And please pay attention. They'll give you some really good, helpful selling hints with network information, the utilization of their benefits, how their plan designs are going to work, whether they're HMO, PPO, do you need a referral, do you not? They really dive into all of those. We, as FMO representatives, attend carrier specific events in tons of markets. So you may see us out and about, even though we didn't have a rollout in your area. Those events are important for us as well. It's how we learn more about the product than what we just see in paper. So those are the first 2 keys to a successful AEP. Next is planning out your AEP. And I do want to stress your, because everybody's different. I can't tell you with any type of certainty what is 100% going to work for you. I can give you a pretty good outline, but you need to set your own goals and you need to hold yourself to those goals. I do suggest that if you're sitting there thinking, well, this is my first or second AEP and I want to hit 50 sales, try 75. Push yourself a little harder this year. And I'm going to tell you the reason behind that is it's going to be a heavy educational year. There are tons of questions out there from clients, and the call centers don't answer the phone to answer questions. They only care about sales. So, you guys who are out there, boots on the ground, really going face to face with clients or truly taking your time on remote sales and getting to understand what the client needs, understand, their health, their doctors, etc. You guys are going to make a huge difference in those people's lives by taking the time to educate the client on the plans, positioning them with the correct plan, and then teaching them how to use it successfully and make the most out of their health care. So if you just notch up your goal a little bit, there's no doubt in my mind that those stretch goals, as we would like to call them, those can be easily hit this year. Yeah, 100%. The carriers want the money, but they don't necessarily care about the customer service. And I did think I saw another question in regards to cost of carrier certifications. Those are free. California you might have to check a special box if you want to sell in California based on the carrier. But AHIP is the same for California. And then the carrier certifications, some of them do require you to check the states in which you want to sell, just so that they get you the proper product information. While you're planning out your AEP, making a marketing plan today is important because tomorrow, July 17th, is 90 days until AEP. Now let that number sink in. We have 90 days from tomorrow until October 15th, which also means I have 90 days until I get a year older, which is even worse. Can't even tell you which one's better. But both are on the same day, October 15th. So 90 days from tomorrow until AEP for you to not only make a marketing plan, but also promote your brand, order leads, and schedule everything out so that you make the most out of every day in your AEP. If you don't have a brand, if you're not sure how to promote your brand, that's what we're really good at. That's the fun part of our job, if you ask me, is digging in, getting to know our agents and agencies. What makes you tick? Do you have a unique market and niche market? And how we can get your name, which is your brand, whether it's your personal name or your agency name, that is your brand. So being able to help you promote that, that's the fun part. Helping you order leads. We work with tons of lead vendors. If you call your sales development manager at NCC, they will work with you to live within your budget, and get you as many leads as possible. And then scheduling your AEP. This is very important. If you're like me, your calendar is like your second brain. I wake up every morning, first thing I do is see everything that I have to do today. But that allows me to have a really good game plan. I can pre-do the work for any clients that I need to see, any agents that I need to talk to. And it just makes meetings a lot more successful when you go into that with a good game plan because it was on your schedule. And then booking events. So part of scheduling out your AEP is educational events. I suggest these for everybody. If you have been in the business for a while, not doing an ANOC meeting really puts pressure on your AEP. So annual notice of change meetings allow you to meet with all your clients on a specific carrier or, plan specific if you want to get that nitty gritty, and talk to them about the changes in their plans and what they need to look for, what plans they should potentially enroll in if their plan is going away, or maybe another plan is ultra competitive and with newer benefits. But those ANOC meetings are registered sales events. Your carrier broker managers will help you get them registered and approved. And that allows you to meet with a lot of people all at once in a sales event setting. So that really helps you plow through a good bit of your AEP in one chunk so that you can leave your new clients or your clients with, unique medical issues and stuff like that for those longer one-on-one appointments. It just really helps you streamline your AEP. But booking those events now is important. You don't want to have to fight Sherry down the road to get a spot at your local library. Or you don't want to have to worry about a new agent going into the senior center that you have done two events at every AEP for the last 5 years. If you have that stuff booked already now, you don't have to worry about anybody stepping on your toes. Plus, it's your name, it's your brand out there. Um, they're going to trust you versus somebody else. But having those booked, advertising those, that's what's going to make that successful. And then, of course, reach out to your clients to retain them. And I do suggest starting sooner rather than later. Again, tomorrow's 90 days. So you want to make sure that you are starting to send out your retention letters to your clients so that they call you with any questions. That's going to be extremely important. You can also advertise other products in those retention letters. So if you picked up a really cool dental plan that is like indemnity based, where it pays the client back money that they have paid their dentist, you might want to tell them about that. If you have had some really good success stories from your clients about using their hospital indemnity plan, let your other clients know that. Any type of information you can give people in a retention letter is smart. You don't want to you don't want to give them a 5-page letter, but 1 page, keep it simple, let them know that you're there for them, and these are some extra products that you can offer. Maybe you can help their friend. Maybe it's a referral letter that you're sending out to help them prepare for AEP. All things that are very important. And every one of these 7 check marks is something that you need to look at now. Don't wait until 2 weeks before AEP. A lot of these things become null and void at that point. So please take an opportunity, take these 7 items and make your own list. But start with those goals, work with your sales development manager, and we can work backwards to get you as close to those goals, if not exceeding those goals, as humanly possible. These are some ideas for community partnerships. And these, again, from educational events to referrals to places to set up a tent and pass out business cards or business reply cards. These are some places that we suggest utilizing pre-AEP and even during AEP to make you as successful as possible. So, professional partnership, if you're doing health insurance, talk to your PNC agent. If you are doing Medicare and you know somebody who's only focused on ACA, you don't want anything to do with ACA, they don't want anything to do with Medicare, create yourself a referral partnership. Professional partnerships are very important, and those can ebb over into things like dental offices. Those can go into things like physicians' offices. If you make friends with the office manager somewhere, you're in. The office manager is key, but they're not always easy to win over. So be prepared to buy some donuts, be prepared to take in some Starbucks on a consistent basis. Create those relationships. It is worth the time investment and the minimal amount of money it takes to get in front of those people on a consistent basis so that they realize that you're reliable. They're going to be much more apt to allow you to set up your flyer stand, a business reply card box. They might even allow you to meet with some of their clients who have health questions. So take the time and do those partnering, relationship building items pre-AEP. Festivals, we have one agent that honestly made her start and a very nice size book of business by working 2 festivals a year. She is out there at these festivals. She does a tent set up to where it's a cooling tent for seniors. They come in and BS with her. I think if I remember correctly, Brandon, I think she brings birds or something. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, she has a I think it's either a parrot or a parakeet. I know there's a difference, but she has a bird because it's made its appearance on several of our trainings as well. But she'll bring it in a cage. She'll have it under the tent with her, kind of as an attraction piece to, it sparks curiosity. It sparks a conversation. And then from there, I mean, when I was talking to her, her first festival that she did, she said, I didn't sell anything. I didn't talk about selling anything. I just talked to the people. How you doing? Here's who I am. Here's what I do. Like it was more of a just getting to know the community and let the community know she was there because she was brand new. She hadn't sold Medicare before, and so she's trying to build up. And she's done this for several years now, and she gets a ton of leads from this. She gets a ton of business referrals. Even folks that aren't Medicare eligible come by. They see the bird, they want to have a conversation, and she puts a plug in for what she does because those people know people, and so that exponentially grows when you're in a festival of, 1,000 people, 2,000 people. It's phenomenal what she's done with that. It just really is.
I see that Miss Lisa is doing several events between now and October. If you guys will take a minute and just, if you're doing events, dump it in the chat. If you want to do events and need help, just type in need help. We will be more than happy to make a
Hmm.
very specific outreach to you from your sales development manager, even myself if they're busy, to make sure that you have all the items that you guys need to make these events successful. And don't hesitate to think outside the box. It is getting in front of people. It's getting to be, football season, soccer's coming back into play. Um, I mean, the sports are out there, but don't think, well, that's just a bunch of young kids. No, grandparents go to watch, parents go to watch, and they're taking care of their parents. So if you have the ability to even set up like a little refreshment stand at a junior football game, something like that, get your name out there. Be the person that has the big flag on the fence at the baseball field. It's worth the cost just to constantly get your brand in front of people. I'm definitely seeing some people in here that need help that want to do speed dating. That's really cool. See, the ADHD works at me sometimes. I can read and talk all at the same time. But those cool events make you unique. So please continue to think outside the box. Francis, Tracy, Rosie, we will be in touch with you guys to help you
Absolutely.
make the most out of those events. Um, and make sure that you are getting the support that you deserve and need. So please just hang out by your phone either, this afternoon or tomorrow morning, and we will make sure that either your sales development manager or myself is in touch with you to help you out and get your events set up.
Courtney, I'll echo something you said just a minute ago as far as like the flag at a baseball field or a football field or something like that. This summer is people are out and about and they're busy and they're watching. And I'll say that my kid's mother is a State Farm agent, and she had when my kids are in college now, but when they were little and they were playing football at Maryville or they were playing baseball in the summer, she always had a flag up, or a banner up at one of the locations. When they played T-ball, she had T-shirts made. She sponsored a team, right? But it wasn't done for just bringing in leads. It was to build the brand of that office. And I think from our standpoint, for as Medicare agents, we can do that too. We just need to be out and about in the community to build that brand, to let the community know we're there. So if it's having a banner at a little league game, because I can attest to grandparents show up for their grandkids, even if it's 95 degrees outside. Um, Helping maybe sponsor the concession stand at these local events, those types of things. Anything you can do or think along the lines of getting your name out, because that's going to be brand building. I know we talk about events specifically focused towards seniors, but if you just want to get your name out there and you've got a little bit of opportunity, don't go crazy spending a ton of money on that. But a banner, maybe a couple $100 that you could have hung up, or flyers that you could put up inside grocery stores that people are walking in, they're seeing, you're sponsored. I know an agent down here in Chattanooga that got with a couple of the local grocery stores and actually has sponsored the bulletin board. So the bulletin board has at the top their name on the board. It's like their board, but it's all of the other. There's realtors on the board. There's other self-employed folks, landscapers and plumbers. They all have flyers and business cards, but that board is sponsored by a Medicare agent. So it's very interesting to see. So anything you can do to get your name out, I think, is very important, because that'll be, as Courtney said a minute ago, anything we can do now and in the summer will build for AEP, which is, as she said a minute ago, 90 days tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's really exciting from our standpoint to see the 7 or 8 of you that took time to put in the chat that you want to do events, you want help with it, or you're confident, but you're still out there doing them. So thank you so much for taking your time to do that. We will make sure that we touch base with every one of you guys. Check in, make sure you have what you need, banners, flyers, advertisements. If you need to run something through our compliance office, let us take that grunt work off of you. That's what we're really good at. All right. So the first thing that we're hearing in what I call verifiable media is the huge commission increase. So right now, a new Medicare Advantage plan pays $626, which renews at $313 every year that it continues to stay on the books. Now, those renewals are paid monthly, but it equals $313 at the end of the year. Next year, you're going to get an increase to $694, which would renew at $347. I want to say that in 13 years of being with NCC, I think that this might be one of the largest, if not the absolute largest commission increase on Medicare Advantage commissions. So it's a great year. Like I said, push yourself a little bit further because you're making almost another $70 per sale on new Medicare Advantage. Even when you look at somebody who's making a plan-to-plan change within a carrier, you're still making almost 35 extra dollars. So it's a great year to be in this business. AEP is definitely looking up just with this commissions increase. Almost everybody was affected by plans that went non-commissionable last year. Whether that was a standalone drug plan, whether it was a Medicare Advantage, whether it happened at the beginning of AEP or smack dab in the middle of it. We all dealt with those. Everybody gets upset when that happens, and rightfully so. So, especially when it happens in the middle of AEP, that is not fun to have to dance around. The reason plans are made non-commissionable is to stop enrollments. When a carrier makes the choice to make a non-commissionable plan, it's because their loss ratio on that plan is way higher than they would have thought. If they continue to take enrollments on that plan, they'll end up having to go out of business. So to stop the bleeding, they make a plan non-commissionable. What we see happening outside of standalone drug plans, let's just take them out of the mix. I'm just talking about Medicare Advantage plans at this point. What we see happening to the plans that were made non-commissionable is they will more than likely completely go away and need to be rewritten onto a different plan. So if you were in a market where a carrier made one or more of their plans non-commissionable and you were selling those plans when you were receiving compensation, make sure you go through your book, be prepared to touch base with those clients and get back in front of them to put them on a different plan. Because the reality is, when they don't want to take any more enrollments, the next step is to get rid of that plan and put them on something that is not going to have a high loss ratio. like they saw from the plan that they had to make non-commissionable. So while it's not an ideal situation, I don't think any carrier goes into it with like, oh, hey, let's get the agents this time. Let's just stop paying commissions. I don't think that that mindset is ever there. It isn't, uh-oh, we didn't plan on taking on this many clients. We didn't plan on this high of a benefit usage. We have to stop the bleeding. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to support their other plans, and then they would really get into trouble. So please look at it from that mindset. It's frustrating. We completely understand that. We agree wholeheartedly. Um, but it's not done in a malicious manner. They have to stop the bleeding in order to service the rest of their clients in a manner that's going to keep them in business. And then, like I said, we really do expect to see most, if not all, of those Medicare Advantage non-commissionable plans have to be rewritten. You will start seeing more HMO based plans. And I know that that's going to be hard to get used to coming from a high PPO market. But again, when we look at cost containment techniques, HMO plans are going to be a whole lot more stable benefit wise than PPO plans. They're able to control that cost within a tighter network base with an HMO than they are a wider network with the PPO plans. So you will need to be prepared for that. You'll want to make yourself a network cheat sheet in the areas that you service, so that you have that top of mind. Extra benefits like food cards, those are going to need to be tied to chronic illnesses. That is the value-based enrollment went away, which means that those extra benefits now have to be tied to a chronic illness. This is in an effort to make all benefits help clients get healthier. So we are looking at real health plans at this point. That's what we're going to see the change to. We're not going to see these crazy benefit rich plans that are focused on things like tennis shoes and utility cards and $300 worth of food on a monthly basis. You are going to see very health heavy benefits designed to make people healthier. Diversifying your book of business is definitely a smart play. Not only do you want to have multiple lines of business in the same household, but you also want to protect yourself. So, in the event that something goes non-commissionable, having ancillary sales like hospital indemnity, cancer plans, life plans that are sold within a separate appointment, med sup plans are going to come into play. Having a very diverse book of business basically keeps your bank account safe. It makes big changes less worry because you have something to pivot to. I think I said the word pivot, Brandon, probably 150 times last year.
Yep. Yeah.
Diversifying will keep you from having to play that game. Okay, so Miss Laura, Medicare Part B increase over 11%. Do you see a migration from MedSups to Medicare Advantage? Yes. And not necessarily due to Part B, but Part D. The standalone drug plans outside of WellCare, who pulled commissions as a whole from their standalone drug plans, um, I think that they're going to increase substantially. And that coupled with rate increases on med subs, that will definitely push people to Advantage plans. But we have seen as an FMO supplement sales lower than Advantage plan sales for quite a few years now. And it's increased in the Advantage plan world. Not in huge significance, but definitely noticeable. So we are seeing and will continue to see a migration from MedSups to Medicare Advantage plans. Yes, ma'am. So great question. If you sign somebody up on a food card plan, will it go away on January 1st? That will depend on the carrier and the client. So when I say things like chronic illness, that can be something like high blood pressure. And I mean, at one point, I was put on high blood pressure medication because I went to the doctor after I was irritated about something. So there's a lot of people that have high blood pressure. There's a lot of people who are diabetic. All those are typically part of a chronic illness sheet that would allow for somebody to have a food card that's included with the plan. Rosie, I don't know if we have a template for plan comparisons, but Brandon and I can definitely put that together for you. That would be a pretty simple 10 to 15 line spreadsheet
Yeah.
we can knock out and send to you.
Yeah, Miss Rosie, that's a great request there. Something that definitely is needed, and we'll get to work on that and get you something out here pretty quickly.
And if you're doing a Medicare 101, should we tell the seniors now? So you can't really, these are speculative changes. We can't talk about anything 2026 in a client-facing manner. So please keep that in mind. Come October 1st, which, if I do math halfway well, is going to be 75 days away, um, then you can start talking about 2026 benefits. But until then, we can't talk anything related to 2026 to plan beneficiaries. Supplements should move to an advantage plan. Really, that becomes a cost issue. What do they want to afford? Do they want to continue to pay for their health plan with a Medicare supplement and a standalone drug plan? Have they had rate increases? Does the cost that they're paying for their health care outweigh what they're truly getting? Are they a healthy person with no family history of major illnesses? You probably shouldn't pay $200 a month in premium. Um, it goes to education. You just want to educate them about what is available from a Medicare Advantage versus a Medicare supplement. We do have a one pager on that, Miss Lisa, that we can
Mhm.
send you out. That would help you kind of just lay something out in front of the client to open up that conversation. And then in all of this, education is key. The more time you spend with your client, the more they rely on you as their trusted advisor, not just a fly-by-night insurance agent. And the more apt they are to refer business to you and help you brand yourself. Your reputation is key to your brand. The more people feel taken care of, the more they're going to refer you out. The more you have trust with your clients and your clients trust you, the more they're going to refer you out. Taking time and educating clients on what they have versus what is available, and then subsequently how to use the plan that they chose is extremely important. That is the key to a long lasting book of business. So please keep that in mind. And then, oh, Miss Rosie, I don't know how people get 80 enrolled by October 17th. But I don't think that they would be able to do that without having ANOC meetings. I do know that we have agents that easily have 100 people in a meeting when they do their annual notice of change meetings. that could potentially be it. It's a hard stretch though. I wouldn't be able to speak to that, unfortunately. You can keep in mind, not that this happens often, but a client can sign an app and send it to the carrier as early as October 1st. If they're not going to be in town and they want to do a self-enroll, that is something that's available. You can't physically take that app and fax it in. The client has to send it to the carrier. But that is something that's an option as well. And then I think that about wraps us up for the day. I want to thank everybody for the participation. It
Absolutely.
really does mean a lot that you guys took the time out of your day, not only to attend, but participate as well. This lets us know what you guys need, how we can help, and how we can make you and your agency, yourself, whatever your setup is, an even more productive Medicare agent and really get you to your goals. So thank you guys so very much. We're going to enjoy the rest of the day today, and tomorrow starts the 90-day countdown. So please keep that in mind. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Hopefully, we'll see you at one of our rollout events and have a fantastic Wednesday.